Hi, I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Tom Flynn.
And welcome to the Why Not Read Alpha Flight 2025 Holiday Spectacular! Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us. We hope you're in high holiday spirits because we are bringing it.
This year, we're kicking things off with an in-depth what-if idea that we more than flesh out. We practically write a new comic book.
Books. We rewrite 50 years of Marvel history to satisfy an itch.
Because as every time travel episode tells us, you throw a pebble into a pond and you wind up with Scott Summers on Alpha Flight.
And as now seems to be a tradition, we also have some of our most off-the-wall outtakes from the past year that didn't make it to the show proper. And believe us when we say that some,
a lot,
still got left on the cutting room floor.
And without further ado, we present to you What If Giant-Sized Alpha Flight number 1.
Another Christmas song with this time I'll sing along. Just another Christmas song with this time I'll sing along.
This came out of the script for episode 39, but it was too good of a thought to let drop, but also too meaty a topic to let it derail an already long episode. So what I thought of while I was typing this was, okay, what if, Tom? What if Alpha Flight had been written in 1975 instead of Giant Size X-Men number 1? Okay? So, think about it. Giant Size X-Men number 1. The X-Men were in reprints. It was dead. You know, there was nothing happening here. And so they intentionally wanted an internationally focused team. And they put it together and they made this big splash. And then a couple months later, Chris Claremont starts writing the X-Men, and then after just a few issues, dives right into the Phoenix Saga, and they take off. So, what if instead of the X-Men being revitalized and done up with giant-size X-Men, what if the concept of Alpha Flight had been taken along with that and used instead?
So when you say the concept of Alpha Flight, like, is it still just a Canadian team, or is it an internet? Is it because one of the points of Giant Size was this?
Well, combine the premise of the international mutant team that's intentionally designed to appeal to an international audience, and then just extend it and say, "Well, tell you what, why don't we just put them in Canada?" Hey, John Byrne, you have an idea about this, right? And John Byrne already has the characters, like, you know, half formed, the same stuff that we've already spent 39 episodes
and the ones that he
about.
doesn't have formed well enough get replaced by the X-Men characters that the mutants
coming in. Yeah. So that's the whole what if structure that I want to
not a pure 1-to-1 swap. You're talking about an amalgamation of the two, but with Alpha Flight and what Alpha Flight is, like some of the themes, all that kind of taking precedence.
But the Chris Claremont whole arc of the X-Men and that whole thing that he did there, what if they planted him in the fertile field of Alpha Flight instead? So this is like one of those tiny changes they include in an alternate universe movie to show how things are off. Like, there's a universe where Eve 6 is playing Blink-182 shows this year, which I think is hilarious. My first top-line thought here, Tom, is that I bet Sasquatch would have been replaced by Colossus, and we would probably have never gotten the character of Secret Agent Linebacker superhero Dr. Walter Lankowski.
Believe it or not, I'm conflicted by that. On the one hand, I celebrate the idea of not having to deal with Walt and his bullshit. On the other hand, having someone to dislike a character to dislike that much has been fun. Like I have enjoyed it on a certain level.
Well, and also, maybe Colossus turned into Walt. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk about here. I think that there's a lot of fun to be had. So let's refresh ourselves on some of the milieu in which we will be working. Okay, so Giant Size was published in cover date May 1975. And then Chris Claremont starts writing the X-Men in cover date August of 1975. So, reminder that when Alpha Flight appeared in 109, that issue Homer the Heroes, that's like halfway through the original Phoenix Saga, which is within the first 20 issues that Chris Claremont wrote. Like, when he hit the ground, he did like less than half a dozen issues, and then fuck it, we're doing the Phoenix Saga.
So it's not remotely unlikely that a lot of the core to Alpha Flight already existed in some way in Byrne's mind, and he is working with Claremont. So, like, it is
correct. And in 1975, they were both working on Iron Man together.
Huh.
And, I mean, Byrne is one of the guys who drew along with Claremont and made the X-Men what they were. I'm saying all these pieces were there. It's just Jim Shooter didn't take his editor-in-chief. He started in 1978 as editor-in-chief, and he started as an assistant editor in 1976. So, like, just after the X-Men were starting to, they realized they had this thing and it's fucking golden. And that's a Blagojevich joke for those of you who don't live in Illinois. So if it, like, there's a bunch of that chaos happening in the Marvel editor-in-chief right there in the 1973 to 1975 range where everything was just real fucking bad. And that's why Shooter got brought on, because he made the trains run on time. He fixed shit. Shooter's problem came after he got things fixed, and he kept trying to fix things. You know?
Interesting.
So that's his style and his role. So, like, all of this editorial chaos would really confuse this. So we're not trying to be too realistic. We're just trying to play with it and have some fun.
Well, but before we completely depart realism, like, look, you bring back the X-Men because they were a known quantity. And obviously they have all
none of the characters in Giant Size were.
Well, that's the thing, is that it gives you, it's clever to do it that way because you're giving people the opportunity to onboard with new characters. You're, expanding the focus of it. It's breaking away a little bit from this teenager mold that the original thing had, but you still have the brand identity. And that matters. That's gonna tickle some people's fancy. Having said that, it is entirely possible to do something similar, but launch a brand new thing. It's kind of flipping a coin as to which one would be better. You don't really know until you do it. So it is totally conceivable that if Byrne had piped up in a meeting about these characters he's already developed, and Claremont took a shine to it and was like, we could just do it like this instead. And then you get Wolverine still in Canada. Like,
we wouldn't get Puck.
You wouldn't get Puck, but you would almost certainly get Guardian.
Oh, yeah. You'd have, okay. Let's jump in. Do you want to do Alpha Flight first? Or do you want to do the X-Men first? Let's just do them all together. So we're definitely going to have Guardian. We're definitely going to have Shaman. We're definitely going to have Snowbird.
Do you have Snowbird, or do you have Storm in place of Snowbird?
Oh, they do kind of.
I mean, they don't. Right. They don't really, but they kind of do. I mean,
yeah, no, we're both beard stroking here. I love it. This is what these are for. Okay, so let's set those aside. Cyclops will probably stick around.
Snowbird does come in, but Snowbird comes in as a villain. Snowbird comes in as a threat connected to Shaman's mystical role. And it would be.
I feel like we need to be taking notes because this is going to get wild.
But Snowbird would be such a good villain for a team like that because she matches up with almost everybody.
Yeah,
like she could absolutely go toe to toe with Shaman on some level. She could totally fight Storm if Storm's on this team. Wolverine would have a hard time with her as she shapeshifts constantly into like progressively larger and larger fucking owls. Like. And it being something along the lines.
Snowbird's getting larger.
Snowbird as again, this is like this whole what if Superman Red Sun sort of thing, but right. Snowbird still being the daughter of Nelvania and that connection to the gods, but corrupted by the great beasts. So that's how she becomes.
Yeah, like I can totally see how there's a way that all fits in together for her to be reused like that. So looking at the team, we're at Guardian, Shaman, and Wolverine,
and Storm,
and Storm on the team. I think Banshee gets dropped.
Yes, agreed. Do you get Marina?
No.
Who replaces Marina?
The X-Men aren't known for their water characters, Tom.
This is fair. This is very, very fair.
No one is known for their water characters except for Namor and Aquaman,
Yeah. Okay, so do you get North Star and Aurora?
Maybe not as founders, but yeah. I think that we get North Star and Aurora. Okay. So the focus is mutants, right? So we're talking about, in the editorial room, they say, okay, the X-Men are fucking dead. We got this idea of the mutants. It's not a bad idea. What are we going to do with this international team? We focus it. All right, so we're going to have a mutant team in Canada.
But it's led by a human.
Well, it doesn't need to be led by. So how does that fit? What is the thing here? Does Xavier move? Where's Xavier in all this? How does this fit? It's Canada putting together a superhero team, but doing it predominantly with mutants. So let's take James Macon, Department H, except Xavier comes to help him to find the mutants.
Xavier comes in and ends up leading Department H, while James. No, hear me out.
Okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Go. Cook.
They accurately figure out that JMH as Guardian works great as the standard bearer.
He's the face.
He's the face. He's a brilliant scientist, all that, but he can't run shit for shit.
Yeah,
so
Xavier knows his way around paperwork.
He knows his way around the government. The other thing that's happening here is Xavier's figuring out that what didn't work out for his original team was that they were outside of the national structure. And he can't do that in the US, but he can totally do that in Canada.
Maybe it's him running from the US, turning more overtly hostile and investing more in the Sentinels. Like there's a whole thing. Days of Future Past could come to pass in the same manner. So like you said, Xavier leaving America because the mutant problem is such a big deal. I think that this reboot would allow the X-Men franchise, the mutant franchise, to put the rather simplistic Xavier, Magneto, MLK, Malcolm X symbolism behind them and take on a new bit of urgency with a different mutant metaphor, which is what Claremont does throughout his run.
Also think that Magneto stays behind. Magneto is not going to run from
exactly,
and so you suddenly
maybe he makes his own pseudo X-Men in America that are allies.
You progress it forward into you're moving past the MLK Malcolm situation and getting more of the 70s with the Panthers.
Black Panthers, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
The Magneto Panthers, the Fuchsia Panthers. Yes, the Fuchsia Panthers.
And Xavier, as something of a sellout, becomes an even a much more pointed and directed accusation and attack. It's no longer just about whose dream is different. It's like, no, man, you fucking took off and you threw in with another government because you couldn't hack it here, and the rest of us stayed and didn't leave people behind.
Oh, Jesus!
And some of us don't need to use a human as the face because we can't actually argue. We can't actually argue for our dream properly. So we're going to just sort of hide.
All right, so Xavier flees America. I might be overstating that, but he hooks up with JMH, who he knows is trying to find mutants, and he offers to help find the mutants, and Xavier helps to recreate this thing, but in a more stable and official way, instead of hiding in the shadows and creating a paramilitary force of child soldiers like he tried before.
Madison Jeffries is a founder.
Oh, because he's a mutant, and the mutants get priorities.
And not only is he a mutant, his specific skill set as a mutant is something that Xavier is going to recognize as massively important.
He's not a founder. He is held back in the base with Xavier, and he is I guess Cerebro already exists. He's still a base. He's not a guy in the chair, but he, instead of taking on the box armor and doing all of his superhero shit, he does what he did before he had the box armor, of hanging out at the base, making sure they have everything they need, and doing that in that support role. Kind of like how Madrox was Moira McTaggart's lab assistant.
Yeah.
And was just kind of in the background until he stepped up and turned into the character that he needed to be. So yeah, I'm going to move. Jeffries will be around, absolutely. But, look at all the characters that we still haven't discussed. We haven't discussed Diamond Lil, that we know is a mutant. Nightcrawler, Colossus, Sasquatch.
So the question is, I think, because we've done enough work on timelines and who was doing what when, and so if we're gonna hold to
all these characters are there at the same time.
Right.
This is like the Avengers talking about, wait, there are 4 Infinity Stones in New York in 2012.
What I'm thinking though is that the flights change. I think you end up with more of the various like X-Men team situations
instead of the New Mutants. Beta Flight is the title. Holy shit!
Instead of the use of X-Force, or what X-Force was turned into like 10 years ago as sort of the Black Ops team, Omega Flight exists. There is an Omega Flight, and I'm gonna say that Sasquatch is on it.
Oh man. Okay.
He's fucking secret agent superhero doctor, linebacker.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you're right. He would be on the kill team.
He would probably be leading the kill team.
Nah, he's not a leader. He's not that kind of leader. Wolverine would be leading the kill team.
Right. Well, Wolverine almost
God
immediately.
damn it, Tom, we're in 1975 and we already overexposed Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, Wolverine immediately is going to catch
Every book.
Yep, catch on. So he's good. Well, that was happening with the X-Force and all those books. I mean, well, you can't have Wolverine not on things anymore. So
God help us if he's not on the cover. All right, let's get back to our original team. So Giant Size X-Men, Xavier, instead of just somehow magicking up his own team of mutants and going the paramilitary route again, the original team is trapped on Krakoa, and he goes to Canada and asks for Guardian's help, and they assemble a team.
Also because he, not only is he an engineer with a battle suit, but he also specialized in drilling and attacking the Earth. And if you're going to go after Krakoa...
He really hates the fucking Earth.
Which is also why you drop Sasquatch like a bomb into the forest of Krakoa to really rip shit up.
Okay, so we have Guardian and we have Shaman and we have Wolverine because they would have been there at the very earliest phases. He contacts JMH. JMH says, yeah, my buddy Mike and I and my lover Logan are going to help you. So we've got these 4 people. So Xavier's the guy in the chair. Sorry, that came out wrong.
Oh no, that came out perfect.
I meant in the genre format, Tom. Holy shit. I am panicking, Tom. I'm going to be canceled.
If all of your conversation about Sasquatch and Dick hasn't canceled you yet, I don't know that this one will.
Okay, so Xavier says, I've got this machine. I can find the mutants. JMH says, I don't care if they're Canadian or not. So how about we save Northstar and Aurora to be found later?
Okay.
And we start in with the team of Guardian as the Strike Force leader, and Shaman and Wolverine. We get Storm.
Yep.
Do we bring in Colossus?
Yes.
Okay, so Sea-Loss is on there.
Because if Sasquatch is not going to be on the lead team, you need the powerhouse.
I think that this whole plan that we're sketching out here is going to end up fleshing out Department H a whole lot more.
More than a little
because
bit.
We're going to be putting people in there because Xavier is there and there's an actual presence instead of Gary fucking Cody.
You know who ends up not in any of the flights? Flashback. Because Xavier's going to take one look and be like, this is the dumbest power set I've ever seen. Why don't you need to go do something else.
You just forget that you have any powers, sir. All right?
Hey, just give me a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't remember anymore. He's good.
I can see McAvoy Xavier doing that.
Oh, yeah. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Nightcrawler. Where is Nightcrawler in this?
See, Nightcrawler needs to come along later so he can come through the same flights with Aurora.
Oh, fuck. I am literally taking notes on this, Tom, just so that we can, keep track of what we're talking about. All right, so we've got Beta Flight then. So we want Nightcrawler.
This does mean we need something of a speedster of some kind, I think, because I do think that matters. Don't. I mean, kind of matters for the structure of Alpha Flight, though I guess with the merger, it isn't totally necessary. We'd certainly have a lot more, good bit more firepower, it feels like, than Alpha had at the start.
Oh, yeah! To be fair, the giant-sized team, minus Storm, is not incredibly powerful. They're effective, but they're not just blow-your-pants-off powerful,
right?
And even then, that's fairly early Storm, so she's not quite the same...
area of effect, I can end the world level Storm.
Also, Storm is sort of a scale... Like she can only do that at scale. You get her in a building and there's really not... She's still dangerous. I'm not downgrading her. I'm just saying she's not oh God, Storm's here in our underground facility.
Sure. Who are we missing from Giant Size? Who haven't we discussed from the original Giant Size team?
Thunderbird? Yeah, he's replaced by Shaman. Sorry, everybody. That's just how it would work. There's only room for one.
That is unfortunately how it worked, though I think the dynamic of Shaman almost serving as a mentor to Thunderbird would be really interesting.
Oh, it would be, but would Marvel do that in 1975?
No.
No. However, somebody from this team has to die. Oh, okay. So if we're following giant size rules, somebody from this team has to die, and somebody from this team has to quit, like Sunfire, whose defining trait is that, like, he once quit the X-Men 3 times in one issue. Sunfire's terrible.
Then if someone needs to die. All right. So one person that we're missing from this is Cyclops.
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to be Cyclops. It could be anybody from the original team. If we're taking the Krakoa thing and then Xavier taking this whole setup, it could be anybody. It could be whatever. However, if Heather is going to exist, I don't think Jean does. There's not enough room for 2 redheads in this. They tried that with Madeline and Jean. It didn't fucking work. So, here's my question. Tom, wait. Setting aside the details that we had here, let's say that we go with the JMH dies dramatically early on after setting up this whole thing, and right in front of Heather, those beats still stay, and then Heather takes over as the leader, and Heather becomes a superhero. Does Heather become the Phoenix?
No. Here's what we do.
I hate you. No, Tom, the whole reason I orchestrated this conversation was for me to make the case that Heather would make a great Phoenix story, and you just swept the leg.
I don't disagree. I think that's an interesting Phoenix story, though I don't know. I mean,
Thank you.
You have to retool why she's able to be the Phoenix, considering that part of that is that, Jean is powerful and a mutant and her specific abilities allow her the interface, whatever.
Well, then Heather's specific soul of being the pure Canadian frontier spirit would work. There's room for one redhead here, Tom.
Okay, so this is about to be my argument. Okay? Bear with me. Scott's on the team. Jean's on the team. Jean dies. Scott's affections start to switch to Heather. You get something similar to
a type.
You get something similar to the Madeline Pryor thing going on, but Jean's not really dead. Jean's actually becoming the Phoenix. So you actually still get a version of the Phoenix saga that gets to come in involving that, but now you have the tensions between, like, you could build to it. It's messier, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Mess is part of the Alpha Flight DNA. So if we're really going to blend these things together, there needs to be a little bit of a good bit of the X-Men mutant thing, and we need a sufficient number of mutants on the team to, like, JMH as the face and Shaman as this, incredibly powerful, important, almost second in command of the team, or what have you. That works. But then the rest of the team,
he would be the emotional social leader.
The rest of the team has to be mutants, which is also why Walt would be over on Omega, because alongside his skill set, he ain't a mutant. Department H starts to rip itself apart between the mutants and the empowered.
There's a lot to be said about this whole topic, Tom.
Let's not put Jean on the team. All right, let's leave that aside. I do think Heather is part of it. Heather has to be part of it. She's a key part of JMH being JMH.
JMH dying and Heather taking over is, in the words of the Spider-Verse, a canon event in my head. Mm-hmm. That, like, what we're doing is we're picking out the canon events of X-Men and the canon events of Alpha Flight and finding the universe where all of those happens as well, Well, in that case, we definitely have Cyclops on the team, and he's the one that dies. Because if Cyclops is on the team, he would be the person that does Jean become Heather? Does Jean get Heather's story? Does Cyclops die in front of Jean in Giant Size X-Men #1?
Huh.
And now we write out Heather from the story. And that is our original X-Man that steps up to lead the team. Holy shit, you speed run the first 12 issues of Alpha Flight and you end with issue 12 in Giant Size Alpha Flight #1 here. Oh, well, there's the episode title.
Giant Size Alpha Flight.
I think that is a great... If we were writing a single what-if story about this, that would be how I did this. If we only had 24 pages to do it in,
And you'd have to do it that way because the emotional weight of JMH dying wouldn't be there because there's no connection to him. He's a new character. Versus having
But somebody's got to die. somebody's got to
Yeah.
carry on and step up and become the leader because her romantic partner is the one who died. Like, yeah, that fits into this.
What if Heather still exists? Because Scotty dies, Jean sees it, huge emotional impact, all that. Guardian's still the face of the team. Guardian eventually dies 12 issues later. All right? Heather still becomes Vindicator, but who is she vindicating? She's taking out her vengeance on the team and the department that she helped build that killed her husband. Vindicator and Marvel Girl become the new Professor X Magneto.
You make a compelling point, and I'm going to spoil some very future Alpha Flight. Heather becomes Nemesis.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
No, there's the new title. For fuck's sakes.
Could be the name of the whole podcast at this point.
Okay, setting aside some of those details, because I think we've had a lot of fun with that and figuring out how a lot of the same beats can fit together. But like, all right, downstream from there. Let's say that we get this giant size Alpha Flight issue right, and then 3 months later, Chris Claremont starts writing Alpha Flight and makes this thing happen over the course of a couple of years. We start getting into 1978, 1979. We are hitting peak X-Men reputation in our reality. Like we said, could you have a book called Alpha Flight and then instead of New Mutants have a book called Beta Flight as well? Would that have been as successful? Because what I'm thinking is we don't get an original X Factor team book. Like, that doesn't happen at all. And in fact,
especially if we kill Scott, then it really doesn't happen.
Correct. Well, they killed Jean, and original X Factor still happened, Tom.
I mean,
you got to remember, they brought her back for original X Factor.
I don't know.
So maybe we do. Fuck. You're absolutely right. You've convinced me.
I think Scott stays dead.
Like Bucky? Like JMH does?
Oh,
can we get a Bernie lean cut in here?
I think I'm kind of inclined towards Scott staying dead for at least 10 years. And then when he comes back, it's sort of
the quarreling.
It's a big, like, what the fuck just happened?
Well, what I'm thinking is what we just built was Peter David's X Factor, but 20 years earlier. It's a government-sponsored, expressly mutant team, and having to work within the structure, the strictures of the government stuff, but also being expressly mutant and whatnot. I think, we wouldn't get X Factor in any of the first two iterations of X Factor.
Sure.
Because of the changes of this that we're kind of collapsing all that in. And you know what? In terms of public reception and all that, it probably wouldn't have been able to sustain itself without growing in the way the X-Men did. But right. I'm wondering what this theoretical Alpha Flight would have grown into instead of X Factor. I don't think the world would have been ready for a Omega Flight X-Force style book like what you were describing.
Sure. I think that's just that. I think that and Weapon X, or that is what becomes Weapon X, is the whole Omega Flight thing. It's the Black Ops element of Department H that's always there and playing a big role, but no one necessarily knows about. It's actually partially run by Gary Cody, and he's the one that recruits Heather in to start to take out Alpha because he doesn't trust the mutants.
Yeah, I can see where that would be the 90s twisted up your own ass angle.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very good at that. I think the next book...
That was Inferno workout. Fuck.
I'm thinking the next book, instead of Beta Flight, I think the beta component to it is a problem. Like, I think it just, even then, it has a resonance that doesn't sound quite right to folks. But I think you can do Flights as the name of the next one.
Oh, and balance it out between Beta and Gamma, essentially.
Yep, people moving back and forth a little bit.
I could see Louise Simonson knocking that out of the fucking park.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I think that would be...
Because that's how it would go.
Yeah, because you would introduce them... I mean, you basically be introducing two teams You'd be talking about how there's this progression.
Some of them would be kids, and Wheezy's great with kids.
Absolutely. And so you would be able to get some of that original X-Men DNA of teenagers, powers, emotions, all that. You'd be able to keep it fucking age appropriate, which would be delightful and a real change of pace.
As I was thinking about this, what I thought? All right, so if all of this stuff happens, if Chris Claremont starts out with this instead of John Byrne starting out writing this, Bill Mantlo would never write the book, which means that Whitman Knapp would never be created, Tom.
Chris, this is the best idea you've ever had.
Thank you. This is the validation of the whole thing.
This specific episode, this specific thing we're doing, it has borne itself out as a worthwhile endeavor simply because
I'm not trying to write Mantlo out of the whole thing, but I'm just pointing out we would not have Goblin, we would not have the Dream Queen, we would not have Whitman Knapp because Chris Claremont would never have allowed Bill Mantlo to play in his mutant sandbox because Bill Mantlo was never allowed to play in Chris Claremont's mutant sandbox. You know what I mean?
I think we've got a good idea of what the giant size team looks like. I think we're playing out some interesting beats as far as writers go. I agree Mantlo wouldn't come on board. I'm going to float an idea up, but before we get to it, I want to circle to something else. Does Byrne ever get his own run in charge of this team? Or is it Byrne and Claremont from jump as co-writers?
I think it is Byrne and Claremont as the new Jack and Stan.
So does Byrne ever go on to do Superman?
Yeah, exactly. Or does he bounce out way faster from Marvel because he and Claremont come to a head faster because Claremont is writing his characters in a way that he didn't want to. But, he didn't have a lot of emotional connection to them. He didn't even want to do the book. So he probably would have handed them over just to see them on the page.
See, the thing is, though, that when he does do the book, it's 5 years later? More? And at that point, he'd been in Marvel for a while. He was already getting itchy feet. Whereas if he does it in 75, when the idea for Guardian's been kicking around his head since he was a kid, and now there's this and
he and Claremont split over bullshit anyway.
And it fucking makes him
yeah.
Alpha Flight makes him. He's going to have a stronger connection to them as a result, which could also lead to him bouncing off if he isn't agreeing with the direction Claremont's taking things. Okay. The thing I wanted to bring up, I know I said that Nightcrawler would probably be in beta or something like that. I want to address the twins, though. We need to talk about what's going because they are the mutants on the original Alpha Flight team.
That's true.
And they're the two most prominent Canadian mutants.
Fuck it, throw them on the main team. Let's put them on the main team. And then it's fun when Beta and Alpha Flight interact because it is Nightcrawler Pepe Le Pewing after
Aurora. And if there's no Walt on the original team,
she needs a monster to fuck.
So
I love how you just waited because you knew I was going to say that. You literally waited for me to stop making notes and to look up and see that you were looking at me to fill in the monster fucker joke.
But that also turns into a much more, I think, interesting relationship and probably a healthier one. Nightcrawler's going to be far more concerned about Aurora's mental state than Walt was. And he's also not going to fuck with her powers because he can't. He doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah, I think that Aurora would be an unrecognizable character to us in this world, that I don't think she would have gotten the same attention of having her specifically horrifying backstory. I do think Omega Flight would have Diamond Lil on it. I think that would be where she ended up.
I can also see Aurora, though, being part of the original team and then having a fight with her brother around something or other, but also potentially being horrified by that first death and stepping back, and she and Nightcrawler lead Beta. I just like the idea of Aurora and Nightcrawler together. That interaction is one of the things that sold me.
It was fucking golden.
It was great. It was so good. There were moments in the prehistory of Alpha Flight that sold me on the larger project even more so than the fact that I was somewhat making you do it. But that interaction specifically, I'm like, oh, this is great.
And that would give Northstar an opportunity to object to her relationship with a monster and her to give him flack in her, Comics Code approved way.
Not just a monster, but a German monster. How could she? Imagine the voice work we get to do. We would get to be doing Nightcrawler arguing with fucking North Star.
All right.
Are they ever on a team together in the main line? North Star and Nightcrawler. Looks like they have been on a couple teams together.
I can see them getting along. Nightcrawler gets along with everybody. If you don't get along with Nightcrawler, I mean, come on. If you're friends with Nightcrawler, then you're friends with me.
Well, it looks like Nightcrawler's religiosity concerned North Star, but that got put to rest pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, because that's how it has to go.
Whereas in the Ultimate X-Men universe, where Nightcrawler is a complete fucking monster, yeah.
I enjoyed the Ultimates book for what it was. I mean, it was extreme, but I did not really ever click with Ultimate X-Men. It did not work for me, especially the incestuous twins.
That wasn't great.
Well, no, that was an Ultimates, I guess, now that I think about it.
Yeah, that wasn't Ultimates.
It was uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable. No, Ultimate X-Men was a strange one. Yeah, I didn't like how a lot of that handled. We were reading that kind of the same time through that Marvel Fun web browser thing.
I loved it. And that is a whole piece of history that people can't experience anymore. And I would love to see that one more time. I wouldn't pay money for it, though.
It was good. It was an interesting way to read a comic, I must say that.
It's been fun. We can see kind of the channels that things are falling into and how the characters sort out. I don't know if we would ever get Apocalypse, you know?
Interesting.
Like Apocalypse was not intended to appear the way that he was. It was supposed to be like the Owl or somebody that was masterminding the scheme, and then Apocalypse just sort of happened. I mean, quick, Tom, what's Apocalypse's mutant power?
Right.
that's the joke. Apocalypse kind of kicked off that whole era of, oh, he has plasma powers, where it was just, oh, they make energy blasts. People's powers stopped mattering at a certain point, and it was just, they do superhero shit, and their name is this, and they look like this, and aren't they cool? Instead of having, hey, this is a weird, quirky power. Let's talk about this.
The other option is for Apocalypse and Master of the World to be combined.
Oh, well, yeah, I hadn't really thought about the Alpha Flight villains, but yeah, I think Apocalypse and Master of the World make an excellent combination.
And Lionel and Mr. Sinister would work as a jam up.
Yeah, they would pretty much kind of fit the same notes.
And Lionel as Sinister, focusing so heavily on the organic to be the hard counter to his brother with the technology, the metal, and whatnot. Delphine Courtney, Roxxon. Roxxon absolutely is Roxxon's even more prominent. Roxxon becomes the front for the anti-mutant.
The Sentinel manufacturer.
In Canada. While this is a nationally sanctioned team, nationally supported team, your tax dollars are going to support this group of people to defend Canada. There's going to be a lot in the government that doesn't like this, and they're going to find someone very willing to assist them in Roxxon.
No. Roxxon stays in America and is partnered with Sebastian Shaw in producing the Sentinels, and the Sentinels are always an extraterritorial threat to the Canadian Alpha Flight. What the counter to Alpha Flight within Canada is Weapon X. That's where it's not the public, the secretly funding a thing to take down the superhero team that you're also funding. That's Weapon X. That's where Gary Cody is keeping his options open.
And that's why Walt's on the team. Walt's a secret agent. Walt has these superpowers. Fuck, Snowbird's part of Weapon X. You take elements of the original team that you twist it a little bit more for whatever reason. Plus, putting Snowbird next to Sasquatch makes sense given the Great Beast connection.
Yeah, it allows that whole thing to play out. Yeah, I'm not sure if the market would have... Because you couldn't have the Omega team... Because I guess you and I just collapsed the idea of Weapon X and Omega into the same idea. So if you have the Omega team, you couldn't do that within the regular Alpha Flight book and balance out this many characters and all of that. But the secondary book, a Beta Flight book and an Omega Flight book, actually, maybe that's how it would work. Instead of X-Men and New Mutants, and then what was the next ongoing? Excalibur? I guess it would have been Excalibur. And then we got regular adjectiveless and X-Force and all that as it expanded out from there. But Excalibur definitely existed. So yeah, instead of New Mutants, Excalibur, and X-Men, we would have Alpha, Beta, and Gamma Flight. And Omega Flight.
Alpha Flight Flights, which is Beta and Gamma, and then Omega or Omega Flight.
Oh, yeah, just call it Omega. Yeah, if you had the flights, you would just call it Omega.
And you do a prehistory. The first issue of Omega Flight is a prehistory of when they all worked together and how when Xavier came in, half of them get booted off the team.
Oh, now we just recreated the Thunderbolts, Tom.
I think we're doing a nice job of keeping true to a lot of what makes Alpha Flight, where they're somewhat X-Men and somewhat Avengers, and not really either, and not really the best parts of either. But there are those elements to the team, and that's kind of what we're hitting at here.
Not to spoil the ending of our coverage of like Alpha Flight Volume 1, but Alpha Flight as a concept began with the idea of radically changing up the status quo. And every time Alpha Flight veers back into trying to make it look like the original Burn Run or get back to some form of a status quo is when Alpha Flight really sucks. It's supposed to be this constantly changing thing. And the way that Claremont envisioned the X-Men was they would come in and age out at like age appropriate times. That Scott and Jean were supposed to, or Scott and Madeline were supposed to retire and have a kid and raise the kid. And maybe in 15 years, we'll pick up that kid and we'll have stories with that kid. But they were supposed to get out of the book. Mm-hmm. He wasn't allowed to move people out in that way because that would screw up Marvel time.
And that's also why this would be so
But
attractive.
maybe he would have been allowed here.
Well, this would be so attractive to him because with the explicit idea of the various flights going on there, you can let people move on from the book and someone else takes their place. A character that fans already have a connection to and understand, but you're also changing the dynamic every single time someone comes in or out of the team.
And because the idea of the flights was baked into the moment of creation, it isn't the same thing as having the X-Men do all their crazy space shit and then saying, oh yeah, and now we're going to open up a high school for special teens on Earth. And we're going to run this school every day and provide 3 meals a day to these kids and laundry service and all of these things that are details that take you away from your goofy space god shit that the X-Men are doing, And one thing that I don't like the X-Men in space. I don't always love the X-Men at school, but I do love the X-Men dealing with the political nature of what the mutant thing in society means. Like, that's my favorite aspect of the X-Men. The Summers family bullshit and space stuff, they're fun. Don't get me wrong. But that's what really tickles my fancy about the X-Men. And I think that there is a lot of that would have been played up more through Alpha Flight, and there would have been less Brood stuff in space. The Brood storyline is fantastic, and I'm betting you haven't read it. It's absolutely worth reading. It's fantastic, Tom. It's probably the best Claremont story. It's just less famous than Phoenix, because it doesn't involve the pretty redhead so much.
I think I've read a couple issues of the Brood one, but I'm pretty sure I have, because there's a specific panel that's sticking out from my teenage years.
Oh, well.
I think we're wrapping it up. I just had a random thought of what if Madison Jeffries fuses with Cerebro? Like, what if Roger?
Oh yeah, it would have happened, something like that.
But he can't get out, and now Madison is like the base. I don't know. I like that idea.
There is a lot more to pick at that really. All of that flows downstream from some of this earliest stuff of who's on that initial team and how they get shuffled together and what mutant metaphor we take off on. But Tom, I have had a lot of fun thinking about this with you. Thank you for taking this time to just shoot the shit, man.
Oh no, this is fun. I mean, this is the good shit, right? Like, everyone does this. Everyone does this in whatever fandom they have. People do this with football of like, what if this person was on this team? What if this person got drafted here? I mean, that is fan casting is a huge part of everyone's hobby, no matter what that hobby is. So
I want Tom Cruise as Wolverine.
I really don't.
He is agelessly old and young at the same time, and his eyes are dead and crazy.
Your point about the eyes is a very good one, and I don't disagree with that specific point. He
has been looking like Tucker Carlson lately.
He ain't got the size for it, man. He ain't got the size for it.
He's not supposed to have the size.
He's supposed to be he's supposed to have a density to him, and Tom Cruise is at his densest doesn't pull it off.
That's true. Well, and in addition to what you've been talking about, I think that the problem with Alpha Flight, a lot of it is that it's changed so much, and it's been so many different things, so many different people, and they tried this and it didn't work, and then they moved him to space, and then they did this and they did that. I hope that Disney takes advantage of this mess of a great idea that has had some cool stuff happen, but not in a coherent way. And I hope that they kind of straighten this out and give it the love that they deserve, because boy, there is some emotional, good storytelling to be done here that can build the world out in wonderful ways. And I just want to share what I love about this team, this story, these characters with other people. And I'm glad that I've gotten to do that with my love of the X-Men, with the X-Men movies, and with Thor, with the Thor movies. But I've never been able to do that with Alpha Flight outside of this podcast. So I really hope that we get some allies to help carry the banner forward. There are dozens of us, people.
Look, Alpha Flight is fertile ground. Some really great characters. There have been some amazing emotional beats, as you said. And as a comic, it works best as a soap opera. And it's the best one I've read in the Marvel Universe. So it'd be great to see something interesting done with all of that. But yeah, they can leave a lot of the Mantlo out of it, especially this last bit. Jesus fucking Christ.
Thanks for coming along with us, folks. Let us know what you think we got wrong. Let us know what you think we got right. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Just another Christmas song, but this time I'll sing along. Just another Christmas song, but this time I'll sing along.
Man, I almost want to come back to this idea every holiday spectacular and just flesh it out more. Create like an Alpha Flight Forever timeline where we just fanfic the fuck out of it.
It was a good time. And next up, we have a bunch of those little good times that we promised you from this past year.
Is that like Petit Morts?
I don't know what that means. Oh, Jesus Christ. You said Petit Morts. I guess I'm the one that does the French accent.
I wrote that in the script, and by the way, I did that on purpose, Tom.
God. That should be an outtake, but here we are. Once again, we have swept the cutting room floor and found the nuggets worth keeping for you, our dear listeners, and left behind some even more questionable things. You're welcome and enjoy.
Meaning of a white Christmas with jingle bells in the sky.
Someone says Walt can only be saved by someone who loves him, someone who hates him.
Oh, me.
And someone with more power than him, which seems weirdly specific. I guess that's why North Star had to be forced onto this adventure, though seriously, he could have been written into this without negating his free will.
Yeah, but then Walt wouldn't be able to finish.
Oh, dude, too far. No, too far. Now who's slipping stuff in the script that somebody else didn't notice? Good God, no.
It's the same old song, but I'll sing along.
No, I love that you've said Boubier because absolutely that's what Box would say. There's no earth in which he would pronounce it correctly. Even if he knew even if he practiced, as soon as he sees Aurora, she becomes Mademoiselle Boubier because that's all Roger's thinking about.
Oh, they get together later.
Oh, for Christ's sakes!
I'm gonna sing along.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a Roxxon Sexbot 3000 is built from the ground up to be a female.
Yeah, you know
what I mean?
You know what? I retract my previous statement. Absolutely. They're only probably making female sex robots at this juncture.
Yeah, because if they were making male ones, Walt's soul would be in one of those.
So many ways to go with that.
That would absolutely be the solution that Box and Box come up with. Like, it would be a mini series called Box and Box, spelled differently, and it would be them breaking into Roxxon, stealing an actual male sex bot, and then recreating it with the living stuff that they need from the Box armor so that they can put Walt's soul in it, and then presenting him to Aurora with a big bow on his head.
I've seen that movie.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. We're cutting most of that.
You look a lot like Christmas. Hark the herald angels sing.
But yeah, this is 2 episodes in a row that I've gotten to make a whoop there it is joke, and I am so fucking happy about it.
The reindeer is riding high. Let it snow. Let it snow.
Its genetic hold on me is strong.
Sorry, I'm not going to look at you on the video so that you can get this done straight.
See what I see. Oh, Christmas tree.
My only shortcoming, you'll pardon the pun, eh? Do you want me to introduce that, or do we let the Puck voice stand for itself?
I think the Puck voice can stand on its own. Thank you very much.
Old song, but I'll sing along.
Does that mean that if I ever get thrown out the house, I can go crash at like Avengers Mansion? Is that how it works? What I'm asking is, are the Avengers, is the mansion a halfway house for failed middle-aged men?
Well, Walt's not living there, so
Well, Walt's dead.
he's not living anywhere.
Oh!
No, you will definitely come stay at Baker Manor when your wife comes to her senses and realizes that you married up.
Okay, this is going dark directions.
You know what you call a demigod? Aragorn.
Was wondering what you were going to land on there, but I guess that works. Sure.
Wait, aren't the Numenorians descended from God, or are they a completely separate race?
They're a version of elves, aren't they?
Look, we appreciate the Lord of the Rings, folks, but we don't know it the way that we know Alpha Flight.
Oh God, I probably do know Alpha Flight better than Lord of the Rings at this point. Anyway, Snowbird is also participating in this adventure.
There
Doug,
was a thing written, it didn't end up being fun.
Doug, we'll get to Doug in a second.
No, Doug just stormed off because his wife would go hunt their baby.
What I see. Oh, Christmas tree.
Our team is led by Heather McDonald Hudson, widow of team founder James McDonald Hudson.
Oh,
she's
Tom, I'm sorry.
McNeil. Fuck you.
You gotta leave that one in now, friend.
No, I get to outtake it, asshole.
Oh, God, curse you in the means of production. Someday I'll get it from you, Tom. And then the listeners will hear my unhinged id.
Look a lot like Christmas. Hark the herald angels sing.
Mine is the hoorah.
No, power. Power, I just mistyped it, sorry.
Fucking believable. I gave you an oeuvre like that. and
Yeah,
it's
I know, it's
accident.
fantastic. It was wasted on a typo.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with jingle bells in the sky.
Folks, we hope this episode has been as fun for you as it has been for us. We will be signing off for the rest of 2025, but if you want more great Chris and Tom content, we'll be putting up a nice Boxing Day bonus episode of Why Not Watch a Movie on our Patreon. Sneak peek, it features a humble vaudevillian veteran cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. The only verdict is vengeance.
Also, ideas like this what if will populate the Patreon over the coming year. So if this is your speed, the more off the cuff, not always alpha related thoughts and yammerings, they'll be posted up on the Patreon under the Why Not One Shot banner.
We really appreciate the time you've spent listening to us this year.
Some of y'all even have us as your number one podcast on Spotify Wrapped, which is just wild.
And so touching. If we can make a bit of a pitch, please consider supporting us on Patreon. It really helps us cover our costs and justify this whole thing to the spouses.
When we come back in 2026, we're going to have a slightly different schedule. Instead of a strict every other week schedule, strict. I mean, we've only missed
We made
once.
it all but once, man.
Yeah. So instead of that every other week schedule, we'll be shifting to releasing episodes of Why Not Read Alpha Flight on the second and fourth Mondays of each month.
This is almost the same number of episodes per year, but it shifts the production schedules just enough that we hope to be able to make some really cool new things happen over the coming year.
Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Chris and Tom is recorded in Chicago, Illinois, and deep beneath stately Baker Manor in a fashionable neighborhood outside St. Louis. It is written by Chris Baker, edited by Tom Flynn, with additional cat noises courtesy of Teeny the Chonky Calico.
Who showed up just in time, yes.
And a special shout out to our newest voice this year, my age-appropriate daughter voicing little Kara Kilgrave, 13 years old. Our special music for this episode is by Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. All the clips today are from their song Just Another Christmas Song from the album It's a Holiday Soul Party.
A classic in my household. Every year, my wife looks forward to putting this on because she says, it's a holiday soul party.
New episodes will be released the second and fourth Mondays of the month at www.thewhynotpod.com and wherever you get your podcasts, where ratings and reviews are always welcome as a way to help our community grow. And we love hearing from you, our community. You can reach us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and by email at whynotapod@gmail.com. That's whynotehpod@gmail.com.
From both of us to all of you, happy holidays. May they be spent with the people you love.